Welcome everybody to another Almighty episode. Yeah, you heard me right. Almighty Psyche. So today I'm happy to announce that we did an episode with Mark, and Mark is a beautiful man. I mean, just an incredible human being. We got to chat around about, a little bit at the end about spirituality, but a lot of it we tend to stay around art and music and our paths in art. He talked a lot about his influences. He was growing up back in the 70s, the 80s, and younger. I'm bad with time, everybody knows that. But when the Beatles coming out and his what's the right word? His muse. That's not the right word. But we do talk about muses a little bit at the end. But his it's gonna drive me nuts. That thing that you put in your mind, that you construct everything that you do around. Oh, it's gonna come to me maybe by the time the outro hits, and then I'll make sure to say that word. But yeah, he was growing up with the Beatles, and they're writing his own songs and performing it, and that's the standard that he grew up with. So that's what he was doing, and he goes into great detail about his youth, what happened afterwards, and how he got back into music, and how it's never too late to chase your passions. I'm also doing something new in the outro, so stick around and see what it is. Who knows? Maybe you'll win $1 million. You won't. All right, let's jump right in. Woo.
Like when I went to go travel around the West Coast, and I had this image of myself. It's like, I'm okay, because you're just surrounded with so many incredible musicians up in here, And I heard you play at Columbia City, I'm pretty sure, right?
Oh, really? No, I never played Columbia City.
No?
No.
Then never mind.
Anyway,
But so many musicians that are just impeccable, and then it's really hard to place yourself into that
I know,
bubble.
but it is hard, and it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to not compare yourself, especially when you're getting going. You have the stage fright thing you have to deal with, which sucks. You just have to slog through. There's no easy way out of that.
No, there isn't.
And yeah, but the thing with art, and this is visual arts too, is you just have to find your own path. You just have to find, and this is what successful artists will tell you. Gosh, who was I listening to yesterday? Somebody's some TV interview or something, but they were asking him like, "What do you think?" No, it was an NPR thing. It was Bernadette Peters, this like Broadway singer who's sort of like done musicals and movies and stuff. And the interviewer was saying, so what do you when people come up to you and ask you like how to get into the business, how to make it and all that. And she said what they all say when they get this question is like, you just have to just be yourself.
Be yourself.
That it's no good to try and follow someone else's path. It's not you. You're going to crash, because of course, but that's hard. It's hard to just have the faith. It's down to faith.
It's always faith.
And it's like and many of my songs are about that, about having that faith in yourself. And it's like a leap of faith. It doesn't really, there's nothing to really substantiate it except for you do hear these people saying that's what you should do. And it's fine in the abstract, but when it comes down to like you writing a song and singing your heart out in this room with a group of strangers, it's, wow, that's hard. That's hard to do.
See, I
Some
think
people, anyway.
For me, it's like the abstract is enough. I mean, being an abstract artist, I take that up and I was like, oh, this makes sense now. And then I live it. And then it's just the hardest thing for me has been just continue doing that. And you just because you forget, and then you start comparing again, and then you go down and you're low, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm back up, and you see the sun shine into your eyes, and you're like, oh my god, I remember this.
Yes.
Like I keep listening to Alan Isaacoff, right? Just amazing singer, amazing storyteller with his music, and just also the guitar. It whines, and just the heart just wrenches, right?
Nice.
And then I'm sitting here just listening, and I just fall in love deeper and deeper and deeper, and then you start to just like, why can't I do that?
I know. I can't.
And then yesterday I heard another song by another artist that I loved, and I was like, oh yeah, this makes me feel a completely different feeling, and it's just a heart-wrenching thing, just rips your heart to shreds. I was like, I don't need to be him. I don't need to be them.
Yeah.
I'm doing my own
You
thing.
need to be you. Yeah,
I'm doing it. And then one person one day is gonna be like, dude, this guy.
Yeah,
is he
exactly.
a magician?
See, exactly. See? And you're going to be the subject at that point. At some point, somebody's going to look at your work and say, "Why can't I do that? You know, that's what I want to do." You know? Yeah. But it's hard when you're getting going to have that faith, you know, and to have faith in that it's that leap of faith. You know, you just have to leap into it. You know, like one of my song lyrics is that I usually open with when I play shows. It's called Performance, and it's about my journey becoming a performer as opposed to just becoming a noodler at home, right? And the chorus is and I'm singing to everybody else in the house who's other players like me, you know, like this is part of the community, because when I'm done, someone else is going to come up with it. So the lyric is. We gather at the edge and we take the leap of faith, you know, and build our wings and fly into the night. So the concept of I think it's a Ray Bradbury quote. He said that someone was asking him, you know, how do you do it? Like I was just saying, and he said, you you just need to jump off of the cliff and build your wings on the way down. And it's like, no way, really? And it's like, yeah, that really is. That's it. You gather at the edge and take the leap of faith and build your wings. And you know, how can you be comfortable with that? That's not a conventional way in this world where you're supposed to go to college, get a degree, get on the train, you know, and take
Get
the
ready
train
for all these things.
and get to buy a house. And there's that whole world out there, of course, but it's not the artist world. You know? It's not what we do. It's not our people. You know, it's not how we're wired. You know, it's not.
I completely agree. It's
Yeah.
counterintuitive, but man, does it feel good?
Yeah, it feels good to have successes, and what's good is having a community around you, you know, to help you, to sort of reflect with you, you know, to feel supported. Like, oh, it's not just me. Like, you can, and every little success, and every time, you know, you get up there and it's a little more comfortable to sing your songs, you're a little better at doing it, sing a little better because you're not going to your voice because you're so tight, you know, and scared. And then people start to say, nice song when you come off, you know, you start to get a little bit of feedback, just a little bit of support, you know, just a little, you know. It's lovely to hear that stuff. And when people, the best compliment for me is like when people ask me to do a song they've heard me play before, I was like, wow. Right on, how cool is that? You know, that's great. Somebody liked it. Damn, shit. I got my lips on it. Well, anyway.
Well, it's pretty.
There it is.
It's very pretty. Well, no,
Okay, so like I asked in the text, is there a particular place here? Do you want to ask me questions? Should we just start chatting? What's the?
Let's start chatting about stuff, because again, it's like my whole goal is to basically just uncover you. You're obviously an artist, right? You're a musician. You might be some sort of other artist. Who knows? But at least when it comes to me, there are big reasons to why I'm pursuing this. You know, it's like the emotional aspect, the spiritual aspect of it all, especially with music. Spirituality and music just. I mean, it's pure magic what we're doing, and when it hit me, you know, I was like, "What?
Really?
I need to share this with people." You know,
as a player, you mean?
as a player,
writer,
or
player, yeah.
I mean, or just teaching them at the same time, just like, to see music in the mind frame that I see it, because if we just make music, you know, willy nilly, you know, just like what's been playing on the radio, we are just
copies.
Copies, but we're also tarnishing the brains of everybody. We're spamming, we're littering their minds and thoughts with all this trash, and then these people, they walk through life and start believing everything they keep repeating. You know, you repeat a lie enough times, it becomes true.
Right.
So it just keeps going and going and going on repeat.
Yeah.
And then
I think you're right. I think artists have a responsibility to sort of be in the forefront of it all. You know?
it is.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that's right. You know, and there's not a lot of support for it out there because some of these concepts are hard to apply to the general public. You know, people who are on that train, more conventional train, it doesn't fit into their life. But for a lot of other people, you know. Yeah, I love the artistic thing. It's genetically in my blood too. My uncles are art kind of people. One was a fine artist. Another one was he was actually a graphic designer, and he worked in advertising. But that's the way he intersected his art sensibility with like making money, and trying to be a little more have a more conventional job, And another one was a gilder. He's like a gold gilder. He would like he would do gold like lettering on doors, in people's offices, gilding all kinds of things. It's kind of like a wealthy person's kind of world to have things gilded. Oh, I want to have my doorknobs on my home's gilded, or whatever, But it's a real skill to do craftsman. He's a craftsman. Yeah. That was his art. It was more of a craft.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was kind of cool, in a way. But all unconventional people, really. And none of them had super regular, plain old jobs, like accountants or teachers or anything like that. Pretty much all just figuring it out, in the arts as they go along,
Which for me it's been a fascinating journey, like going into the artist, because I was on the other side of it.
You were
just pre-med and science.
Right.
Now I'm a teacher.
Sure.
Which I think teaching is one of the biggest artistic expressions that you can have, because I even tell the kids, I tell my teachers too, is I'm sitting there and I'm molding their brains into becoming full human beings later in the future. So I'm a sculptor. I'm a brain sculptor right now. But what I wanted to say is, like, I was driving down here and I was thinking, about the art in itself, paintings and canvases, just let the thoughts roll.
Visual arts.
Yeah, and I remember when I was in England, they had some very intricate frames, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm sitting here, it's like, nobody really appreciates the frame people, because sometimes they sit there, especially back in the days. You can't just throw it on a CNC router and then carve it out.
That's right.
This guy is making intricate like faces.
That's right there.
To put it around a painting, where people are just gonna glance at the frame a little bit, and then they're gonna stare at the painting.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And then it's just completely a lost art.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's what I do now. I'm a picture framer. That's my job. It's my job.
That's insane.
Yeah, but I'm more of a frame designer now. But I'm not building and carving and gilding frames. I have a little bit of exposure to that, but mostly my job is to design. People bring art and I design the framing for it. So yeah. But I that's wild, isn't it? Yeah. But I have studied a lot of the old. The world of old framing, it's a world of convention, really, all the frame stuff.
So I guess let me ask you this question: using a proper frame then, because I feel like artists not just going to pick a random frame and just put it around there. Do people ever just like tie in together the frame and the piece itself to just kind of maybe give it an extra emotional aspect to it? Do you know what I mean?
Rarely that happens. Mostly an artist will create a work of art, be it on paper or canvas. I don't know. What medium do you work in? Do you work in canvases?
Yeah, canvases most of the time. I have posters, but yeah.
But they'll, it varies a lot, really. An artist can. It sort of depends on how a sale is made to a client, to a buyer. I mean, like when you have a show, sometimes people just put up unframed art, because that can be a way to present art, just to stretch canvas. That's a way, and then the buyer gets to decide how they want it to fit into their home, and then they're about choosing the frame, And that's what Napoleon did. When Napoleon conquered, made his empire, and he was going to Italy, and he was going to Western Europe and bringing back the booty from there. He had things reframed and put in the Louvre and put in his palaces and stuff. So he was able to put his stamp on them. It's kind of interesting.
It is.
But he did that. He decided to do that, and so there was a whole genre of framing where the frames are carved and have little images in them. Like he used to use an olive branch crown, like from Greek and Roman, because he really admired that era. He modeled a lot of his reign as emperor, on a lot of those kinds of that era. And so he would put those kind of images, you see that a lot of carved olive branches in the frames that he wanted to put on. It's crazy. But mostly my job as a frame designer is just to get out of the way of art. That's what I want to do. That's my take. My take is like, the rock star is the art. I don't want people to look at this in the client's home and go, "What a cool frame." I want them to say, "I love that work of art," And then the frame is just holding it there. I mean, it shouldn't. Obviously, it doesn't want to fight. It needs to complement and be fine. But I'm not. I'm not about like gilding lilies. That sucks. I like lilies are the point here. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
See, the only reason it came up to mind is because I remember this one painting, and the painting itself was it was okay. Like there was nothing
Your painting,
crazy.
you mean?
No, it wasn't my painting.
This
was at a gallery, and the painting was okay. Just a normal scene. Just people walking around, and I'm looking. I inspect paintings for like you're about to steal it, and you just sit there, just. And then the biggest thing that caught my eye was just the unusual frame that was used. So I'm just thinking, it's like, did they do this on purpose?
Like who's?
Yeah, like who? Wow, like in the 1700s, you went and thought, I'm just gonna put a random painting here, but the true art is gonna be in the frame to classical misdirect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's right. A lot of people did that. A lot of people that's you just chose those old frames because it was the convention. It's what you did, and a lot of people would buy like for like the Impressionist artists when they came through, and they were a new school of art. Of course, they were pretty. What I'm talking about, the Impressionists, right? You study art or anything?
I study art. I taught a little bit of art.
There
I can't
go.
say I'm like a big, huge
Well,
anyway,
I'm just saying they came along and they were a new school. They were kind of like not playing by the rules with their techniques and stuff. Right? With the color choices and the perspective and all that. And they didn't want to have those gold gilded frames. That was like the old stuff. And so they designed their own frames, or they sold them unframed, or they were taken to a dealer. There were a lot of Parisian dealers who it was the dealer's job to sell the damn art, not to be the artist. So sometimes they would put those conventional frames on them just so that the buyers, who are used to seeing fine art in quotes, in those kinds of frames. So that was a comfortable thing for the art dealer to do to sell the art. So a lot of those came through, even though the artists were like, "Shit,
I know.
I don't want that frame on my art." But at one point an artist needs to let it go too.
There's a fine give and take. I agree.
Yeah.
Because you have to give the people an attachment point of something that's familiar. Like with some of my abstract expressionism, just I see it. It's so.
There you go.
It speaks to me. It just speaks volumes to me, right?
Nice.
And then you try to show that to people, and they're like, okay, they don't get it.
They don't get it, right?
I've been getting to a point where, like, okay, I can do the same style and the same thing I've been doing, but maybe just make like a face or a smiley face.
Something.
Different variations. So people are like, oh, okay, I see a smiley face. And then they can latch onto that, and then maybe the small intricacies eventually will permeate through their minds and just get stuck.
Yeah.
But
that's a hard leap, though. It's a hard, especially in like a genre like abstract expressionism. I mean, that at least with the Impressionists, the imagery was there. It was a field, or it was a train station, or But with something like a Motherwell or any of those Jackson Pollock or something, I get the people looking at that and going, what the fuck, this is art, really? How come this is art? I get that, but to other people, and of course the artists, it was wide open, new places to go, man. These were new fields to be run into, let's go there and figure it out. And so that's interesting, because that reminds me also of back to I didn't mean to get into picture framing stuff, but these subjects do apply. Yeah, they flow in together. But like when the abstract expressionists came along, like in New York in the 50s, like in mid-last century, they didn't want to put, like Pollock, for example, or they didn't want to put conventional frames on, of course. They were just putting slats on, just to get them up on the wall. But there was this guy who was a frame maker in New York City, who's just kind of in the same crowd with them, sort of hanging with them, with those people in the art crowd there, because he was a framer and he was making frames. And they went to him and they said, do you have any ideas of any kind of frame that we can put on this stuff that's like a little bit, that's not conventional? I don't want anything gold gilded or, what have you got? And he thought, and he had been an engineer, a mechanical engineer. And he went, when he was in the war, in the World War II, he was in Germany, and he visited the Bauhaus School of Art, and he saw that school of design, and one of the things that he saw in that school of design, and sometimes you still see it in furniture design, is chrome steel, polished steel frames on chairs, for example, with just real simple steel, polished steel lines, and maybe a leather seat, a simple leather seat. So he remembered that look, and he thought, that's a really clean, high tech. This was high tech back then. Doing that, working with metal like that. That was high tech back then. He said, I remember this from the Bauhaus School when I was over there. Maybe I can do something. And so he invented the welded steel and aluminum frames. So they're metal frames, but they don't have the miters in the corner. They don't have the corner. It's beautifully polished and welded together. And they were like, that rocks, man. That's what we want. And he did 10,000 frames that he sold to the Museum of Modern Art for a traveling show. They were also strong because they were metal. They were welded metal, so they could hold together, and they were that simple look, and it was a very cool sort of combination of this guy bringing forth experiences from his life, where he had been. You never know what's going to influence you. Yeah, bring it forward, offer it up, see what you think, and it rocked. It was what they wanted. So when I, for example, someone brought me something that was abstract expressionist piece, and as soon as it hit the design table, I was like, I know what this needs. I know what the frames were back in that era, what they were putting. And I found this place. There's not many places who make these welded steel frames anymore because they're real expensive, but it was exactly right. And so I ordered it up, and it was like a $400 or $500 frame, on this big, but it was just what it needed.
Wow!
So that was fun. It was fun to find somebody who valued my opinion and valued, sort of respected the art and wanted it to sort of work with the art. So that was fun to do.
That's pretty fascinating, because I think it's definitely something that I would want to try out myself.
Yeah.
Because my biggest thing is I haven't wanted to use a frame even a little bit, because it would take away from the art itself.
There you go.
And then I even had one of the showing, it was called Frame of Mind, so you, the frame is your mind, use your mind and try to flip it around,
Right.
So, but again, some people do want some frames on there, so I think it'd be something interesting to explore.
Yeah.
With,
and even I just even like using really beautiful solid woods, like solid walnut or solid maple, just clean and clear, and just it don't take away from the art. The art is the rock star. Let the art be the thing.
That's fascinating, and I'm glad you said that, because the biggest thing I try to teach my kids is, because in school I remember being the same person too. It's like, why do we need to learn this? What do we need to do this for? Like math, this, that, the other thing. And I keep telling them, listen, you are putting tools on your tool belt right now. You might not know how to use a hammer, but 20 years down the road, you'll be like, oh my God, I think I learned about a hammer. Yeah, and they're like, I have this hammer. Oh my God, I can do this.
That's right.
And then just like the gentleman, he learned something in the School of Art. He picked something up. He put it in the back of his head. He didn't care for it. He didn't say, I need to memorize this because it's going to come in handy when this is going to happen, and then there's going to be a revolution. I'm going to play a part in it.
That's right.
You can't play in any of that. So you just fill your tool belt with tools, and then eventually you get to a point where you're like, what can I do with these? Freaking Batman.
Yeah.
We're all Batman.
And having an open mind about being able to let those influences move forward, be forward in your life, Be brave enough to present that stuff, and yeah, exactly. Wow. Yeah.
So how did you get here where you are right now? Framing. How did you get into music?
Yeah, music is really my path. I mean, that's it. The framing stuff is kind of fun, and it's art. It's artistic too. The frame design is artistic too, so that works in that way. But my art path. I mean, I'm a baby boomer, so I was growing up with the Beatles and with really creative music, you know. I mean, the early stuff was just kind of rock and roll, and then it got interesting, you know. And so I was part of that generation that watched that evolve, you know. I mean, you can't imagine what it's like as a teenager, which are really ripe years for discovering music. I mean, you're just hot, you know, for like figuring out music, right? Remember when you were a teenager, the music that you dug back then, you probably still do, because it's so it impresses you. It's like pressed into you. Yeah. And so, and in those years, you know, it was amazing to have every year a new Beatle album, a brand new Beatle album. Where the hell are these guys going to go this year? And that was, and it's like Rubber Soul or it's Sgt. Pepper. Whoa, you know, and they're going all these. So, all to say that as I was growing up and digging that music, it just kind of was a good illustration of being open-minded and people. Now they were exceptionally successful for as much as they sort of opened new areas. You know, I mean, it's not in all areas of life that you can be so revolutionary and evolutionary. You know, and have successes like they did. That was craziness. I mean, just that was kind of a one-off phenomenon. You know that. But it still instilled all of us with this template about art and also the more complicated music. Like when at the end, you know, they were doing some pretty wacky stuff, you know, and some unconventional stuff. So when that era ended, the next places you went, like for me, the next places I went were prog rock, progressive rock, like Genesis and Crimson and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Yes, because they were doing interesting music, sort of time signature and key changes and more technical stuff. You know, that's where I went with that. You know, just as a listener. Now, as a player, that's different because when I first started playing, I just got a horrible little acoustic guitar, little Stella guitar, harmony Stella guitar, and just learned bass notes of Beatles songs. You know? And then I moved then there was the singer-songwriter era that started to come along, like the James Taylors and the Cat Stevens and the Joni Mitchell and stuff. And so I was started to learn chords out of chord books, but just teaching myself pretty much, you know. So my finger picking style is pretty much just what I could figure out. Somebody didn't show me how to do it. I just heard the notes bouncing around and found where, and figured out which fingers I could use to do it, you know. And it was fine. It was okay. That's how people were learning it back then. So I developed this kind of two-track interest in music. One was the kind of more folk, the chordal sort of modal, more conventional sound of those players, like the Paul Simons and the James Taylors and such. And the other one was the progressive rock, where they were like a little more out there, you know. And so those are my influences. Now I got into bands. Any of the bands that I played in were always doing original music, and never was ever in a copy band. And now I don't ever do any covers. I'm just not interested in doing it. I was again steeped in this era, this Beatles era of these guys are writing their music too, and that wasn't normal back in the day. You know, you had like the singer-songwriters, the Bobby Vintons and the Frank Sinatras. They weren't writers; they were performers. You know, but with the Beatles' example, the artists were the writers as well as the performers. You know, and so that was always my template. You write in the performance. So all the bands that I ever was in and other people I played with, we always were just writing our own music. That was always the thing. Just let's write some music. Yeah. But I was never a performer in a big way, like out in public. I was in these bands that would just rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. And it was kind of fun to sort of be and write songs just together, but we never were out and playing, you know. They never would take that leap of faith, you know. And so years and years went by, and I got married and had a kid, and my daughter went to college back in several years ago, and she's a senior now. So when she went to school, when she left home, then I thought to myself, okay, what now my feet are a little more free now because I was a pretty active dad. I've dedicated a lot of my time and energy to being with her and being a dad and just taking on that role. So when she went to college, it's like, I got some time here. What do I want to do? And so I'll never forget. It was like I had this New Year's resolution of 2013-14, that crossover year. And I thought, I'm just going to try performing. I've never really done it. And so I thought to myself, I'm going to give myself a year of seeing what this is like. And it starts with open mics. Pretty much still at open mics is what I'm doing. But I just thought I'd try it. Because there wasn't a lot of risk involved. It's like, if it crashed, I thought to myself, I can try it. If it's too hard, if I'm scared shitless every time I go up, I'll just bail on it. It's just a New Year's resolution, no big deal. I'm not making money doing it or something. It's just something I want to try. It's just one of those bucket list kinds of things, you know. I don't want to be on my deathbed thinking, I wonder if I could have been a performer, you know. One of those things. So I thought, now is the time, you know. I can do it, even though it's old. You know, I was thinking, it's fine. Why give it a try, you know. So I did, and I started. It's interesting being here because this is I think literally the first place I ever did an open mic. Here, that stage right there.
It's a good place.
It's a really
is so inviting. It's such a beautiful thing. The first thing I saw
was the place is super cool. Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna come play here.
Yeah.
So first Saturday of the month, I was like, I'm coming
exactly.
Here.
Yeah. It's a really good place. Yeah. So that year, what I started out doing was I just didn't know kind of what to do, so I just started to attend open mics and sort of see what they're formed like, what it looked like, and then I eventually just started putting my hand up and getting on the list and trying, and it was hard, and I had my crashes where you're in the middle of a song and you forget.
Just forget.
It's like, all you can do is like throw yourself in the feet of the audience and go, I just forgot. And they're like, yeah, that's okay. We all been there, because so many of the audience in situations like that are players like you, and they've been there. They're on the same road as you are, I remember when they do that, when they crash.
It still happens like every day.
And it still happens, it's not that big a deal, You do get better at that,
Yeah.
So that's still really what I'm doing, and it does tend to be more this kind of folk, I guess kind of.
It's the hardest thing to do as a category.
Yeah,
I still can't. Do it.
I come off of it. Lately, people have been saying when they come off the stage, like, "Oh yeah, that kind of reminded me of Crosby, Stills and Nash." Or one girl said to me, "Oh, we were just kidding after the open mic, and I called her. She had a really aggressive kind of blues voice, and I said, I really like your music. It sounded like Janis Joplin a little bit." She said,
"That's a great compliment."
And that was a great compliment. Yeah, and then she did too, and she was awesome. And she said, "Yeah, and your music sounded like Paul Simon to me." I'm like, really? Wow. And I don't know.
Yeah.
We're too close to it. You're like
you
don't. It's hard for you to know what your art looks like to other people. You just can't. You don't know.
You don't know.
You're this close to it.
You just have to accept it. It's like, just make it, walk away.
Yeah, and so I just never know. So it's interesting to hear the feedback from others and what this sounds like, and it makes sense to me. I mean, that's sort of the era that influenced me as a player and as a listener and a lover of music. So that makes a lot of sense. So apparently that's kind of what I sound like, I guess. But my music is pretty much guitar oriented because I'm a much better guitar player than I am a singer, and I like to challenge myself as a player. So I'm doing some alternate tunings and using capos that capo some strings and not all the strings. Just different ways, different ways to work. And just now, like I just came from working with a cello player, and that's been cool. We haven't gone out yet. We've only gotten together for 2 or 3 times. We were going to play the Fremont Abbey tomorrow night. Have you ever been to the Fremont Abbey?
Yeah. I love the Fremont Abbey.
Okay. And but he feels like we were going to do it tomorrow night because tomorrow night is one, and he thought he wasn't prepared enough, which is okay because I don't want to push this, But it's so cool to be collaborating with someone so different. I've never collaborated with others in this era of my life of music at all, you know, and cello and acoustic guitar. It's
Oh, yeah.
wow, so soulful.
It is.
So beautiful, you know. It's so beautiful, such a beautiful support for an acoustic guitar. Man, it just transforms those songs into, it just takes them up a notch, you know, to more beautiful, just more beautiful, yeah. The sustained notes, you know, it's just lovely.
Well, the cello is something that, like, right now I'm just playing around with wanting to get to. I mean, it's like $1,500 for a decent one.
Yeah.
You know, when I get there, I'll get it and I'll play around. But because they teach music all the time too with the school.
Oh yeah.
And
cool.
the teacher there, who I substitute for, she's a celloist, professional celloist. And I mean, I saw her play it and she made me cry. And I talked to her. I was like, "How do I do this? Can I do this somehow?" She's like, "Of course, why not? Right? Hey, we can all do this."
That's right.
But man, it's just
Yeah.
it enraptured me. It truly did. The sound,
Yep.
and just nice little blanket laid
Yes.
over there, and then you can put the
Very
guitar on top
much
of
so.
it.
It's very much like it, yeah. With that sustained, with that arc, you know. Sometimes you're just on the fundamental note. You're just supportive of the chord. Sometimes, and this guy I'm playing with, his name is Robert Tornfelt. He's a retired orchestra teacher, and so he's a great player. And not only is he a great player, like reading music and all that, but he's got the ear.
Yeah.
You know, he can follow a lot, and that's something that I don't assume people have. That's another little facet to have. You know, where if you can follow along with music, you know, intuition and with the ear learning, you know, it's massive, and he is so good at that. And so I totally feel jazzed about this next little era of mine. You know.
That's pretty fascinating. So you took what, a couple? I mean, I'm assuming about 20 years to just be a father and walk away
Yeah,
from
I
music.
kind of took a break.
Yeah.
I was always just playing a little bit. But no, it really was when my daughter went to school and I had more time on my hands. And I thought, okay, so I can continue to evolve now. You know, there's no reason for me not to. And I wanted my wife to also, but she doesn't have a passion like I had, you know, just in her life as a person, you know. Not quite the same way that I do with the music, you know. So yeah, so it's only been 3 years, maybe 3 or 4 years. So I'm still doing the open mics, and occasionally I'm doing showcases. You know what I mean, where you split a night between 3 or 4 people. You're doing like maybe a half hour, 40 minutes kind of thing. You know, I have enough songs to do that, but it's going to be different with the cello player. I hope that he can hang with. You know, other people are contacting him and playing with him too, you know. And I just want him to hang with me and same thing. So I have to. It's my job to lasso him in, you know, to get him to come and play with me. Yeah, he's interesting, and he's an interesting guy. He's the patriarch of a family of players, of players that are like. Folk players. There's this band in Portland called Black Prairie, and what the band is all of the members of the Decemberists, except for the main guy. The main guy's name is Colin Malloy. He's a writer, a singer, but everyone else, when the Decemberists aren't working, they're in this band called Black Prairie, and the one of the principal members is his daughter. Is this guy's daughter that I'm playing with. You know, her name is Annalisa Tornfelt. And she's a singer and a fiddle player, and it's very cool, you know, just to sort of see it all, you know, to find him. And I only met him because he came into the frame shop I was working at. And somebody wanted to frame. So in life, there some of these things like you never know. You just never know. That's right. Things line up, you know. Some of these things there's this Sarah Bareilles song that I really like called Uncharted. And some of these things are, you know, I think life is uncharted, you know.
Oh yeah.
I like uncharted lives, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's kind of cool. That's kind of like, I dig that. You know,
So, saying that, what did you think, if you can remember back when you were younger and you were playing shows with your friends or whatnot, or wherever your mindset was, did you see your life turning out the way it turned out?
No.
What did you think
I could
was gonna
never
happen?
have had expectations. No. And this is one of the things that sort of characterizes arc of my life and the evolution, the direction of the evolution, is that I never really did have expectations about who I should be, what I should be, and all that. Which is, it's not that easy to, because when you come out of high school, then it's like get on the college train, Then when you come out of college, just get on to find a job with your college degree training and all that, and that's okay. That's okay for like most people in life, I think, and I don't fault anyone for that, because that's an attractive train to get on. It's a figured out route. It's a charted route, This is
the road's already there.
The road's already there, exactly.
Just
the train tracks are laid down, and that can be a very comfortable life for people. And it's just not who artists are, and that's me. I just never felt like I needed to have that expectation. When I left school after that first year, I went to school for a year. Did I tell you I went to school for a year? Yeah, I went to college for 1 year. At the end of that year, I just sat down with myself on the college campus in Ohio and said, okay, so Mark, what did you dig about this last year? Did you find some people that you really liked? Did you take some classes you really liked? Opened yourself up to sort of some fields that you got exposed to in some of your classes and all that? And what did you dig over this last year? What was good about this last year? And the thing that I was passionate about was going back home to rock concerts. So yeah, from college I would like hitchhike up to Toledo, Ohio, and see Joe Walsh in one of his first bands called Barnstorm, and I thought, okay, that's what it is. That's what I like, And I was able, for some reason, I was just able to be idealistic with myself and let myself not go back to college because it didn't look like there was anything there for me. Not when I had this other big thing going.
Yeah,
come and dig music, And again, I don't know there was no expectation about what that would be, but I knew it wasn't staying at college, so I got out of school and I started, I went back to Cleveland, Ohio, which is the biggest town near where I lived, and just started getting some jobs in the music industry. I got jobs at music stores. It was the biggest rock and roll music store in town. Was really, really popular with like touring musicians, and so everybody who came into town would always come into the store. So I got to meet these lots and lots of serious musicians, and did some roadieing a little bit, and started to manage record stores, and so whatever I could do that was kind of musical, and so yeah, so I ended up. During those years, one of the skills that I got was just retail management, just store management. And so I was able to work that into just getting jobs in retail management, nothing about music. That took me to Dallas. I became a regional manager of this card and gift store. But while I was there, it was kind of interesting because while I was there, did you ever hear of the New Bohemians? Or Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians? There were New Bohemians. They're a band that were big in the 80s. And that's when I was there. So I discovered them there, and so would go to their shows and dance my ass off. We'd get soaked from dancing, just that joyous, going to follow a band and dance like crazy, And she's married to Paul Simon now, Edie Brickell. That's Paul Simon's wife. But it was fun being reintroduced to music in that way, And then I moved to the Pacific Northwest because I just didn't think Dallas as a place to live at all. It's not bohemian enough. Dallas is not. It's a business town. It's a really good business town. If you're like want to climb a business ladder or something, it's a great place to do that. It just wasn't me. So I moved to the Pacific Northwest, where some of my family had moved to from Ohio. So my landing place was Eugene, and then I just did a job search out of Eugene and ended up in Seattle.
Wow.
And here's where I met my wife, had my little girl, started to play music. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing now, just kind of, playing, and I don't, again, no expectations about what it's going to be, where it's going to go and all that.
Just doing it.
And it's interesting now, Andre, because one of the things that's so common for people in my position of like players doing your own music and doing open mic and stuff is to have like the online presence, like the SoundClouds and stuff like that. You know? And I'm just not there at all, not in the least. I don't have any pictures to give people to put on posters if I'm playing somewhere. I don't have anywhere that I can send people to find my music on SoundCloud or Pandora or whatever at all those other kinds of outlets. I got nothing because it's just that was never a goal for me. I still feel like I'm kind of a baby in this, you know. I still feel like I'm learning to be a good player and a good performer. And I'm not in a rush.
Yeah. Oh, none of us should be in a rush.
I'm not in a rush doing this. You know?
And I think some of the best people, they feel that way anyway. It's just like, you know, if you feel like you're competent and you're the best, then you basically, okay, I'm good. I don't have to grow anymore. Yeah. But if you feel like you're young, or if you're a baby, you're still learning, you're always going to keep moving. Yeah. You're always going to keep moving. And you're always going to feel like a baby. Yeah. And you're always going to keep moving.
And I like that baby feeling. I like that sort of like, I mean, I don't need to make the money that there would be if you were a consistent performer. I don't need the adulation. I'm not that interested in. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I still feel like I'm just learning it, just playing and learning still.
And that's why you have the ability to sit there and experiment with the guitar. You know, sampling half the strings and then modulating the tuning, which is something I know I want to go there very soon. I just yesterday I picked up scales because I haven't been doing scales at all. Just chords and mess around with just a little bit of theory just to compose music. And then yesterday I was sitting there, I was like, if I'm going to teach kids, because I was going to teach music, if I'm going to tutor kids, I should probably know some scales. So I sat down, did the major pentatonic, and then it clicked with me. I was like, oh my god!
Oh,
the things I've been doing. Because I just travel around the board because based on just like, okay, I know these sound good. Now I know why. I was like,
now I get it. Now this is how. Yeah,
this is fascinating.
This was the basis of it. These are the bones of all that music. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I know. All that
so once
stuff.
I get all the scales down, that the next step is what you're doing. Like I keep watching videos where people are playing, finger picking and stuff like that, and they'll just like tune while they're playing, like just detune while they're playing, maybe half capo stuff.
Sure, exactly.
And I'm just like, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, I know. How do you think of that? Like Joni Mitchell is the perfect example of that.
Amazing.
She's, and she would just invent. It's like James Taylor said. She was not only was she writing the music and performing it, but she not only was she like painting the canvases with her music, but she was inventing the canvas too. She would change her tuning depending on what the song needed, or what was inspiring her, something she would hear in the environment she was in. For some reason, she just had that open mind about her approach to her instrument. It's like, I don't know where that came from. It comes from inside. Yeah. It doesn't come from anywhere else outside of you. It's not like you're following someone else's example to do those wacky tunings. You just have to be interested in pursuing it, and finding it. You have to be motivated. You have to care. You have to dig it. You have to be passionate about it. Yeah. Right?
Well, definitely. Yeah. And I think another thing is that's why for us it's so much easier. Like you had to figure out the finger picking patterns, all this stuff.
Right.
For us, for my generation, just anybody in this day and age, you're just YouTube away, a YouTube video away. If there's not a YouTube video, you can make a YouTube video and then show people.
That's right.
But it's a YouTube video away to learn whatever you want to learn.
Yeah.
With the guitar
that's
or
true.
whatever
That's
else.
Exactly right. No, you're right. YouTube is a great resource. It's a really, really good resource. Yeah. For players to discover new ways to go, things to do. But I'm not sure that it's better than just hanging out at home and just
of course not. Just
experimenting and
playing around.
Playing around, noodling.
I don't know if I took this off of somewhere or if I read this off of somewhere. It's just basically just learn all the rules and then break them. That's how you do it. Learn all the rules. Learn how people are doing it. Oh, okay, so you're doing this way, you're doing that way, and then just combine that and then just do whatever.
That's right, and that's and that is the classic art sort of arc for an artist to follow. You do start off with something, whether you're taking violin lessons or you're just learning watercolor techniques or whatever it is. You start with not necessarily copying, but learning from masters or people who have these techniques down. And then you have a basis. Then you have a way to move away from is what it is, really. But it is really important, I think, to have something. And for me, it was just learning those bass notes on Beatles songs and learning those chords, those simple chords that Cat Stevens was playing. It's a beginning, It throws you learn some of the conventions of the medium you've chosen, be it visual art or music or dance or whatever it is. You just learn where people have gone before, learn some of that stuff, throw away the stuff that doesn't work for you, glom onto the stuff that you dig and what you've learned, and then, like I say, break the rules, then move forward with your own combination of all of that and the new stuff that you develop on your own, too. It's cool.
I love
It's cool being an artist, but it ain't easy. I mean, it's
not.
It's not for everybody, and that's a good thing to know, And you can't expect other people to sort of get where you are, I mean, the whole thing of not making much money and all that can be hard, in certain settings, Like for me, I'm never going to retire because I don't have any money. Because I've never pursued anything that had that as part of its package. Never got with a company where I had a 401k or anything like that. It just wasn't what I was interested in.
I bet you've been living an exciting life regardless.
And that's it, and that's the trade-off you make. I have, and you know what it is, Andre. It sounds corny, but I'm trading. It's valuing the road and not the destination.
Exactly.
That's what it is. It's saying I dig this road, and this I'm trading the end point for every day. Every day I like what I'm doing every day. And I'm not doing it so that I can enjoy my life when I'm 75. It's what I'm liking doing today. But it is a trade-off, and it is still unconventional in this Western society to have that kind of a way to design your life. Because most people don't like that insecurity.
They don't. I'm sitting at the gym in the morning, and there are a couple of gentlemen just sitting there talking about retirement. If you push off your retirement until you're 70, you'll make an extra 7.9%.
You're figuring it all out,
right? And I'm sitting there, and they're old already, right? They're maybe they're 60, so they're getting near the retirement age. And I'm sitting here who's telling you you're even gonna survive past 70?
No kidding.
Or even to 70? It's
when you get hit by a car.
Right now, enjoy now.
Well, I know. That seems obvious to us,
Yeah.
But.
Being an artist, it's the journey, the process.
Why was that easy for you? Do you have that in your genetics? Were your family artists, or did you have any examples when you were a kid growing up, or anything like that?
So I've been thinking about it more and more lately. Just I like to think. Thinking's fun, and because up until now, I've been thinking, okay, I haven't had any really history in it at all necessarily, because my dad's an engineer, my mom. She's artistic. She's running a business right now that's custom manufacturing, so just making anything and everything.
Yes.
And then she also used to play music, and I remember going to one of her shows.
Wow.
So that was cool. But it was never really present. I remember my grandpa. We'd sing during.
Family get-together.
Family get-together. The whole table would just have our few songs, Russian classic.
Sure.
We're just all singing. It's these are the things that start coming back to me. But before, I just remembered, I was on the science route. I was doing math. Everything was analytical. Spirituality, religion, art was all pointless in my book. It was all woo-woo. It didn't make any sense. I was why are people doing this?
Yeah, right.
They're just a waste of time. And then just got to a point where I just had a spiritual awakening in a sense, and understood my power as a human, as a creator, and I was like, oh my gosh, the floodgates opened.
Wow.
And then that's when I realized I can't sell, I don't want the future. Again, that's not going to happen, because I can't prove that to be even real. The only thing that's real is this moment right now, and we can plan that's going to happen. But again, expectations are being laid out, and most of the times they're not being met because the world, the universe, is saying, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, and I've tried, like I've tried forcefully just to mold whatever my relationships or my life into a box that's like this is what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
And every time it was like a
The box falls apart.
The box falls apart, or it's like one of those like the spinny things and the clown flies out. Oh, Jack in the Box is there. It is. Yeah, Jack in the Box. Just bam, and then you're just looking at it.
What?
Yeah, this wasn't supposed
This
to
isn't
happen.
the box that I built.
So, I mean, but my family is still the same. You know, my mom's running her business, and she's still worried about the money, and it's a fair thing to worry about. But like, I'm a teacher. I'm a substitute teacher. Make half as much as a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm an artist. I'm a musician. I'm just like, let's see if I can just accumulate all these things that don't make money, and see what we can do with that.
And and you do just fine from day to day. Somehow, the universe takes care of you. You know, somehow, it doesn't make sense. It's not like you could chart it and say, well, this is what I'm going to be doing next year because that's just like what's next on the path. It's not like that. It's all foggy out there.
You just feel it. Just like walking in the dark. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
A little bit at a time, 3, 4, or 5 feet at a time, kind of in front of you. Yeah. But it's again, it's not everybody who is comfortable with that kind of.
Well, it's like what we said. Everything else kind of already has a path laid out.
Yeah.
Whether being a doctor or an engineer, there's a path. You can follow the steps.
Right. That's right.
This guy will tell you, oh, you got your MBA, now you got to go do this, do that. Being an artist, there's no path. There's been plenty of artists.
Yeah.
But there's no path.
Yeah.
You have your path, I have my path. Everybody has their own path.
That's right. So, yeah. And again, I own that the artistic life is a minority thing, and I don't think everybody's, again, I said it before, but again, I don't think everybody's wired to be able to do the art stuff, it's not, it doesn't work for most people, most people want the security, and I don't blame them for that, who doesn't want security? I'd like to have some security, but I'm not going to trade. I can
freedom.
It's too expensive for me, quote unquote, to do that. Yeah, no.
There's another quote by somebody somewhere. I don't remember people's names. I'm so
that's
bad.
all right.
Nobody's gonna remember my name when I die. They're like, oh, that guy who did these cool things. But it's like they deem me mad. No, I deem them mad for selling their days for gold, and they deem me bad, or that I'm just messing all the quotes up.
That's all right.
They deem me mad because I'm. My days don't have a price or something of that nature.
Don't have a price. Yeah, right.
I'll have to read.
Yeah, where's the madness? The madness isn't in the perception.
But it's definitely quite the journey, and I've been lucky enough to get to where I'm at.
Yeah,
thankfully.
So tell me about your teaching. So is it public school or alternative schools? Or
It's public school.
It's public school.
Yeah, it's public school. So I just just kind of never thought I'd be a teacher. I'll tell you that. Never in my life.
Wow.
But yeah, becoming an artist, it led me into really caring for the arts. So it's like my sister. She was 6 or 7 at the time, and she was in elementary school, and she came up and she's like, "Oh, you got to teach art class because they've cut it, and we don't got art." And I was like, "Not in my house, you don't. The art shall prevail." So I went and started teaching art docent for just a couple of classes, 4th and 5th grade.
Sure.
They just come in, and that's where I learned about Monet and Van Gogh and all the Helen Frankenthaler.
Frankenthaler,
yeah. And I was like, these are some cool people. It's like these are very interesting, and. Just literally, I put, I don't know. I'm a smart guy. I memorize things really fast.
Cool.
Like either the night before or the morning of, I just listen to a documentary about them, and I just go into class and just give a whole presentation. And
you're an expert.
Yeah.
Well, because you do know more than them, so. Yeah.
Well, I really like, I'm a storyteller. I love telling stories. So I pick up on those few details that resonate, and then I'll just build a narrative around it.
Nice.
It's simple.
Nice.
So I'd get them captivated. I was like, all right, now we're gonna do this lesson. And it's always something about abstract.
Yeah.
And half the time I'll use a premise that they, like Monet with painting the light.
Yeah.
So you notice the light changes, and you're painting, the shadows, this, that, the other thing. And then I always combine it with some abstract stuff that I've been doing. I was like, all right, let's do this. Like, have the freedom. You know? My biggest thing is, I understand that the art lifestyle isn't for everybody, but if they can even implement just a sliver of it into their life, they can find just enough to make them happy.
I hope so.
Because it's happiness that we're all after.
Yeah.
And for me, being this is the lifestyle that allows you to be happy. You know, not having expectations, not having a tomorrow not necessarily to look forward to, but to weigh you down.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like so you're doing the best you can right now. It's like, and you're building for something, because you know growing feels good, and it's nice to be able to do things you couldn't do before.
Yeah.
Right? So just trying to infect the kids with just like, okay, you might still be a doctor, you might still be an engineer, but if you implement this, you'll be a better engineer. Because now you're taking the ideas from cooking.
Because it's creative.
Because it's
exactly
creative.
right. That's creative. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly right. Because every field benefits from being creative. I can't think of anything. Even engineers, maybe even especially engineers. You know, because people come to them with a problem, like your mom. You know, they say like,
we need something.
We need something to bring these parts together with a cog that runs at this speed, you know. What can we do? And she has to figure something out, you know, and figure out what the materials are, do the math to make the picture for the template for the factory, you know. It's
cost efficient.
It's creative, you know.
Oh,
It is. They have to come at it with a creative, open mind, you know, and know how to work their tools. Yeah.
And that way we benefit as a society too, because then I'm not sitting here saying, oh, you're a picture framer guy and I'm a painter. We're not the same.
Yeah,
we
we're
can't
just in our
talk.
own boxes.
Yeah. So again, you start to talk to people. You're building narratives. Okay, how are we just a nice ecosystem?
That's
you know?
right.
Like,
and that's what you're doing here.
Yes, this is precisely
you're,
it.
You're putting out. You're talking. You're chatting with people about their path and hopefully illustrating options for other people who listen to the podcast. You know. And maybe inspiring them to have a little confidence, you know, in little areas that they never heard anyone could go there before.
Exactly.
Like, who ever heard of, you know, doing like what I do, you know, just when your daughter graduates, you know, and then try and be a performing musician. It's not like everybody does that. It just went for it, you know.
Yeah.
It just took the leap of faith. You know?
And you just did it, yeah.
I just did it, you know.
You just did it.
Took the leap of faith, you know.
That's the thing that makes
Built
me
my
most
wings. Built my wings on the way down. Jumping off the cliff and build your wings on the way down. Fly into the sky.
Hey, and if not, you know, people pay a lot of money to go skydiving. So, you know, just like there it is, just or bungee jumping, or jumping off a cliff to go swimming. Who knows?
right.
Maybe there's gonna be water down there.
Leap of faith.
See, I have an idea to take a leap of faith into a black hole. I don't know if NASA will take me to send me up there.
Yeah.
I just this romantic notion. Maybe I should write a song about it. But just jumping in a black hole, maybe traveling back in time, or just dying. But whatever.
Just dying.
Who cares?
At least you tried.
At least you tried.
And you know, it's not to get too heavy or anything, but spirituality and religion does creep in with some of these decisions. You know? Like if you are very staid, very conventional sense of like Christianity and Catholicism, you know, then you might not be a little that willing to take some of these leaps of faith, you know, just because it's just not. I don't know. I feel like this life is mine to live right now. You know, I'm not here to do it the way other people have said I should do it. You know? And also, to be quite honest with you, I don't feel like this is the only life I'm going to have. You know?
I agree with you
I
as
feel
well.
like, you know, I'm just kind of working on my soul.
Yeah.
You know? And this is what this life seems to be teaching me about something my soul needs to learn. And then I die. I guess it's being reborn. I don't know who. I can't really know.
Yeah.
You just get this with some sense as to that there must be more kind of, you know, thing. And then move on from there. You know, I don't think it's all for nothing. You know? I think my job now is to just be the best person I can, as true to my heart and my mind as I can be. You know.
I love that.
But not everybody. Yeah, it's not for everybody.
But again, everybody has their own lessons to learn.
Everybody has
and
their
that's
own
why.
lessons to learn. Yeah, and some people like I'm totally different from my brother and sister. My brother is he's like he had mostly a life of being a homeless guy, and he was back in the '60s. He was like, he was kind of like a, well, he was kind of a criminal to a degree. And the drugs were first starting to come more into the fore in society. This is like the mid '60s, late '60s. He was there on the forefront of it, just hitting it hard. Not heroin and stuff, but sniffing glue and just harmful stuff. But he's just kind of rebellious in that way, and his whole life he just was kind of lost because of some of that stuff. Just the way he puts it. So all to say that he's a completely different person. He's a Christian now. He's glad he found God, which I'm just glad he found anything. Any kind of a stake to lay into the dirt, to hand rock, it rocks. Good for you, I'm glad you found whatever you found that you're happy with. That's solid for you. That's what I want people to find. So but a completely different kind of guy than me. Could never, just not creative like me in a way. Just a more conventional guy and happy-ish. He's always having to battle his past and what some of the things he's done in the past, like police record and all that. That's always trailing him. It's always going to be pulling him down just a few steps. He tries to move forward a little bit, but he's got his path. He's got his own path. Just like me.
Yeah. Then you learn what you need to learn, and then next time you do better.
Yeah, you do better.
See, my thought, if this is based on anything or not, but it's like, again, understanding that we're all one. It's like my belief, I guess, like we're all God, and we're all God experiencing life through different nodes of reality. So it's like you're experiencing this world, the universe, through those eyes. I'm experiencing from this eyes, and then maybe after we die. Who's to say, because time flows in both directions anyway, who's to say that I'm not going to be sitting in your chair, you're going to be sitting in my chair,
That's right.
and then we're just going to be experiencing each other's lessons, whatever they may be, for our own soul's growth.
Yeah, and I have to keep an open mind about the quote-unquote future, like you said. Is it the future, or what is it? It's just next. It's just the next thing you're going to go into, Whichever direction it goes, it doesn't need to be moving forward in time for any particular reason. I don't think, It was never felt to me like that what he has glommed onto with his conventional religion now just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't resonate for me at all. It's like, but for him, I'm all happy for him, that he's found it. That's all I really want people to find is something that they can believe in, dig, and be comfortable with.
I completely agree.
And be happy. They don't need to be on my path. Doesn't matter. Find your own path.
Yeah.
But I like the art, being in the artistic community. It just so resonates with me. I've loved the years I put in doing open mics and being with other people who are sort of also just discovering it, and slowly moving forward in it and becoming better writers and performers and all that. They just feel like my peeps, They do.
Well, it's family. It truly is family.
Yeah, and most of them are much younger than me, too. I'm really old amongst that group, But I just could give a fuck. It just doesn't even matter.
How do you feel in here? Do you feel old?
This is it. It's just not relevant to the subject.
Yeah.
No.
You still got emotions. You still got a heart. You got things
all
to
moving
express.
forward together. That's right.
Whether you do it now or you do it later, you're doing it. That's all. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and like I said, there's not a destination. I'm not judging myself against am I close enough by this time of life, or something. It's just it's not. Yeah, it's just not part of the plan. My plan at all. Not part of what I base my life decisions on. Having a destination like that.
And that's what's going to just, again, keep you moving forward and just letting it free and flow, and it's going to be just beautiful.
Yeah. So, how many other people have you done?
If you count the older ones, almost like 24 now,
Really?
probably.
Cool.
A dozen and a half.
Are they all online?
Yeah, all of them are online, except for like 3 or 4 that I just like,
They were.
I didn't want to release it. I was like,
Okay.
if I don't want to listen to it,
Yeah.
other people probably don't want to listen to
There
it,
you
you know?
No, that's right, because you as yeah, and you get this is one of your arts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to decide. This resonated with me. Let's put it out there. You know, I like this particular one. You know, let's just put it out there and see if it works for anyone else. You know, and if you don't like it, it's cool too. You know, that's all right too. You know, do you do much editing on these?
No.
You don't really. Wow. You just
I
front
just,
and back.
Yeah, front and back. My next step, I just had the other day, a couple days ago, is for the outro. Just kind of do like a off of the head, just like little song, just like about what we talked about,
cool,
you know, just
cool.
sum everything up, everything up, and then just like life, if there's a mistake, we got to deal with it. So the same with here. I don't want to sit there and nitpick because I've done that before. It takes too much time.
Yeah,
Takes
that's
just-
crazy making. That
It's
stuff.
it's insane. So
I
that's
know.
why here we started here. This is what we talked about. We ended here.
Plus, and it's cool, and that sort of respects the flow of conversation too. You know, because we couldn't have predicted what we were going to talk about through the hour. You know, right? And you let that be. Let it be what it is. You know, let it design itself as it moves along. You know, this is just what that conversation was like. Dig it or hate it. Yeah, there it is. You know, love it or hate it. You know, all you have to do is just turn it off if you don't want to hear about it. You know,
There you go.
just like a TV show. Or oftentimes I'm listening to like NPR, and it's just some story about something like some massacre somewhere where it's like this grisly details, and I just go over to the radio and turn it off. It's like I don't need to know that. It doesn't make me a better person, a better voter, or anything like that. You know, it's just garbage in my brain.
It is.
And it has an off switch on it.
Yep.
No, thank you very much.
It's a lot easier to stop it from coming into your brain than cleaning up once in there.
That's right. That's right.
And coming back to, we as artists have greater responsibility of what we're putting out, so then it doesn't create trash in people's brains.
Yeah, I hope
'Cause,
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't always go expected places. I mean, like we were saying, look at where Jackson Pollock went, and Motherwell, and Sam Francis, and just like you said, what was Frankenthaler,
Frankenthaler.
Helen
God, I love her so
Frankenthaler,
much. She's so
Joan Mitchell. You know, all these people, and they, you know. Who said that they could do what they were doing? You know, they were just outliers. They were just whacked out artists, just going for it, right? They were just going for it. They were kind of like self-supporting. You know, they were in a school of art. You know, they were resonating off of each other. They gave each other the freedom to go to those places. You know, so they did. And you know, and in their time, you have to assume that there's not going to be any recompense for what they're doing. You know, it's like I can't expect people necessarily to, like in Jackson Pollock's era, to sort of in 1956, to really like what that painting he did necessarily, you know, because it's pretty damn unconventional, you know. So it's not that many people who are going to be willing to take that to first of all to plug into it, to like it, you know. And fewer people who are going to be able to like buy one and want to put it in their home and say, I like this, you know. That's a leap of faith. You know, that's a leap of faith.
And now there are millions of dollars.
And now, but again, you know, you can't count, you can't know that those schools of art and movements of artistic movements are necessarily going to be quote unquote successful in a bigger way. They just are artists doing what they do, you know. It's like Van Gogh. There you go. There's the example.
So much.
Perfect example. You know, he just did what he did. You know, he sold what, one painting in his life? Is that right?
Something
I
like
think he
that,
sold
very
one
low.
painting through his brother Theo in Paris. You know? One painting in his life, and then he was gone.
Kept doing
you know?
it. Kept doing it. His whole
And now
life.
we appreciate him. Well, you know, guess what? There were thousands of artists in the past who were also following their own path that we will never know. We'll never know about because they didn't somehow something didn't happen in the next 10, 20, 50, 100 years where people sort of glommed onto it and rediscovered it or something. You just can't count on that, you know. That's the exception. The exception is when that does happen, you know. And these are the famous examples, of course, like the Van Gogh, the starving artist thing, you know.
Have you seen the movie that they've just done?
No,
Loving
where
Vincent?
they like illustrate.
Dude, watch it, please. It's
Seriously,
the best thing
everybody
ever.
says that.
Oh,
it
you
looks
would
like
love it.
such a crazy idea, but Really, it really works for you, huh?
Oh my gosh! I sat there. It was an hour and a half, and
So it's like animated, right, with the paintings.
So my understanding is they shot the film, with a camera, and then they went back and frame by frame they just repainted each frame by hand, and then just put it together, and then the emotion that they're able to attach.
Wow.
I'm sitting there like at the end, and they finish it off with the Starry Night, and it's a cover by some lady, I forgot her name, but she hits it so beautifully, and I'm sitting there, and just this story has reached just a perfect cascading moment, and I'm just breaking down. I'm crying because I've connected with him so much.
So that really worked. That meeting really worked, because that was a stretch. Sort of figuring that out, you know. How about if we do this with Van Gogh's art? It's
Right.
like, what? Really? Yeah, let's just give it a try. You know, again, you know, people with thinking outside of the box. You know, just
And
let's
it
try
landed.
And sometimes it doesn't land, and sometimes it lands.
Yeah.
So you just gotta follow your muse. You know, if you're lucky enough to have a muse, you know, follow your muse. You know, sometimes the muse is elusive. That's for
How
sure.
has your wife been amused at all with your music writing? No.
No, she's not on board with it in a big way. She doesn't necessarily like the music that I do or the other people that are playing, because we're all kind of amateurs. You know, and we are, in fact, truly amateurs at what we're doing. And I think that is hard for her. It's hard for her to hear me not being a very good singer, and other people who are, you know, just not the finished, final, beautiful performers, you know. But that's different for me, you know. I'm okay with that. I like that, you know. I've always been about the process. Again, the road and not the destination. You know? So I like that. But no, she's not. She's not on board with that, and that is hard. That is hard because I love her, and we have a life together, and we have time that we share together, you know, and off time that we share together. And it's hard for me it was hard, especially at the very beginning, for me to say, you know what, I'm going to do an open mic 2 or 3 times, you know, this week. And it's like, really? Why? You know, what are you trying to do? You know, she just didn't get it, and she saw it as taking time away from her, and it was literally,
Truly.
it definitely was, you know. So those are things that I just kind of had to weigh in my heart about, am I willing to kind of break her heart a little bit, or sacrifice a little bit of security and stability in our relationship to follow my path? And that ain't an easy, you know, decision to make, you know. But that's what that first year of my New Year's resolution was about that I was telling you. I thought, I'm just gonna see if this resonates with me, if it works for me, and if I like it, and it did, and it did work for me. But I went into it with an open mind. I didn't necessarily think it was gonna hit. It was gonna be solid, you know. But it did. It did work for me, and it still is working for me. And it's continuing to evolve. Like playing with this cellist. It's lovely. It's wonderful. I love where it's going. But it doesn't give me anything back. I'm not making any money, you know, or anything like that.
It's
but
giving you just the internal sense of just.
That's right.
Because
That's what I
all we're
value.
looking for.
That's what I value.
And
So it's about values. You know?
And that's also a mark of a true man, is being able to just sit down and say, okay, I understand this is what's happening, but my heart's telling me to do this.
Yep.
And although, like, I can back down, and maybe love you more by doing this for you. But again, then you're selling yourself. You're selling yourself short. You're selling your freedom, and for the comfort of something.
Yeah.
Something
But
else.
it's not everybody who's willing to do that, you know, because that
It's hard
it
work.
puts a marriage and a relationship on pulls a leg out from one of those tables. Now it's a 3-legged table instead of a 4-legged table, you know. And it could be an okay table with 3 legs, you know. Can be, you know. Don't tip it too hard in one direction, kind of thing, you know. But you make those decisions as a man, as a person, whether you're a man or a woman, whatever, as a person who has a passion in a direction that's uncharted and a little bit unconventional, you know. Some people make the leap and some people don't make the leap. And I can't fault people, like you keep saying, for not making the leap.
Of course.
I certainly can't.
We all have our own path.
Yeah, we all have our own paths, exactly. And I do think that a lot of people might have an inclination or a talent or something, or just maybe a wondering about what they might have been able to do if they would have taken another road in life, you know. and I just don't want to look back and say I never tried. You know?
Yep, I agree with you.
And now I can just die any day. I'll be just fine.
You know, I feel the same way. I truly do. I mean, some people say I'm crazy, I'm young, but it's like, dude, I've been doing everything I've ever wanted to do as it hits. Like, since I had my realization, I was like, I've just been doing it. Like,
Yeah.
the things I've accomplished baffle me.
Yeah.
You know?
I know.
So it's like, if I'm happy to give my life away for whatever reason, for a higher purpose. I'm happy if I died, whatever. Don't feel sad for me.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
right.
I live my life.
That's right. That's right.
You know?
And it's interesting, and even and that the awareness of the validity of that kind of a choice is ancient. Even like Henry David Thoreau said, he's one of my big favorites. Oh my gosh, reading Walden in high school was a high school assignment. That was a life changer for me. You know? But he even said, I wish I could go on to the quote perfectly, but mostly he said, what I've learned by like living out in the wilderness, the Walden thing, you know what I mean? Oh, he lived. Do you know what I'm talking about? Walden. Oh well, he took 2 or 3 years and left society and built a cabin in the woods in Massachusetts, outside of Concord, Massachusetts, and just lived there on his own and figured out and lived hand to mouth. Grew his own crops, built his own fires, so this is in the like 1800s. So they did have like gas and stuff. So he could have had more technology, which was the technology back then. But he just thought that he would go out and just live on his own and see if he could like a mountain man or something. Just can I survive in the wilderness? Can I do this just as a man? With my own resources and figuring it out as I go along. And he did, and he had a lot of revelations about society and himself as a person, and culture and civilization, just it all. And it went down into his journals, while he journaled while he was at this place at Walden Pond. And he said, what I've learned is that if a man follows his heart, that he will find success, unknown success like he could never imagine, on that road. If you just dedicate yourself to it. But again, the leap of faith.
The leap of faith.
Man,
hence your music, and your music is.
It ain't easy, I mean, you just casting it out there, and that's what he did when he went out into the woods to live for a few years out there. He built his own house, and just like I build my own songs and build my own life in front of me. But he said, if you do it confidently and you dedicate yourself to it, you will find success that you never would have thought you'd have, because I never think I'm going to be successful doing this stuff. It's not part of what motivates me to go on this road because I see some golden house at the end of it. It's not that. I don't know what it is. I couldn't really tell you exactly what it was, but I can tell you that it's not that. But he said, that's one of the things I learned. Just move forward confidently, follow your heart, your muse, and you'll have successes like you never thought you would. And it's true.
That's fantastic.
It's true, but not that many people go there, so there aren't that many examples that can inspire us.
You have to be your own leader. Again.
Yeah, and also, like I said with all the painters, they don't always come to the surface. They don't always float to the surface. We're not always going to know about all those painters, those other painters, that follow their heart, that follow their muse, that invented techniques on their own, and just they never connected with dealers, maybe, or whatever. The machinations didn't come together,
butterfly
so that we
effect.
know about them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
So all the little tiny things that
But
can't get bad enough.
yeah. But so you can't have that expectation, that you're going to float to the surface of those people, that you're going to have a public and a demonstrable success. It can't be part of it. No. Because probably it won't. Probably it won't. It's like it's like all the kids growing up who want to be NBA basketball stars. Well, I get that. They're watching TV. They're getting dreams going in their brains. They're teenagers. They're being ambitious. They're dreaming about the future. but they know the reality. It's the statistics of how many people get to be NBA stars, how many people get to be successful artists showing in galleries and museums, how many people are rock and roll stars or folk stars or whatever music, successful musicians. Very, very few.
Very few.
Very,
Yeah.
very few. It can't be the reason that you do it. Sometimes it gets you going. It can get you going, but
that's what separates. The ones that just do it are the ones that end up being that. Because they just do it.
And that's true. And those headstrong people who can follow their muse, and it doesn't apply maybe so much for basketball people, because that's a pretty conventional thing to do. There's rules, and they're not artists. But yeah, one of the leaps of faith is letting yourself do your art the way that it flows from you. Write a song about something that's unconventional, if that's where the muse is taking you. If you're playing a dissonant, wacky chord and it still works for you, let it be, man. Hang on to it. It becomes who you are. And there's nothing out there that's going to separate you from other people who are doing the conventional stuff, except for that wacky chord. They're going to go, whoa.
That's different.
That was different. That was kind of cool. And some people are going to go, I hated that. But yeah, I mean, and it is those outliers. It's those people who have faith in what they're doing, and no matter how different it is from anything that's come before, that probably will be successful, even if maybe they're just at the waterline, and their nose is right there, just enough to get by, kind of.
But then you live life creatively too. Like the biggest thing I've learned is, how do we minimize and how do you still live a full life?
Yeah.
And it's more interesting that way. Like I stopped. One of the very first things I stopped doing is just going out on like dates. So if I was seeing a girl, I would just cook for her and go to like a mountain and get creative with the dates. So I wouldn't go to a restaurant, just the typical things. And again, save money, impress her more because she wants to see the commitment and the romance in it. It's like, okay, cool, I'll do that. I like doing that. Keeps you sharp.
But it's not everybody who would like that. Some girls want to go to the restaurant thing.
Truth.
Some people are about that.
Truth.
But you're never going to know until you stick your nose out and say, how about this?
Yeah.
And if they go, no, thank you, then it's like, oh,
They're not meant for you. And then you keep on moving.
Yeah, and then
Life is so simple.
Yeah.
Like that's the biggest thing. It's like right now, life just became simple.
It can,
And you can breathe, and I mean, sometimes obviously you get through to a point where again you just there's some darkness around you. But I mean, I've gotten to an understanding where it's like, okay, that just happens. The ebbs and the flows.
Ebbs and flows.
You're going up and
That's
down.
right.
But it's like you see it, and it's like, all right, yeah, I might feel like crap today, and there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
Just go be nice to yourself, and the sun will shine again. The sun is shining like today.
Yeah.
The sun will shine. So, do you have? So, like you said, you don't have anything on social media or anything. If some of the listeners want to come listen to you, where can they listen?
Stoneway Cafe.
Stoneway Cafe.
I'd like to do the Stoneway Cafe Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's a great open mic. I think it's the best open mic in Seattle. Fremont Abbey.
I love
First
Fremont
and
Abbey.
first and third Tuesdays of every month. It's a great place. It's an amazing place.
I might see you there tomorrow.
Yeah. That's where I want to play with this cello player eventually, because he came there and saw some performances there. He came to see me perform there, and just to see the room, to have that experience.
It's divine.
Yeah, it's unlike anything else. That lovely experience. But you have to. Yeah, that was a challenging room for me. You have to think about what you're playing. Can I sing over my playing? I'm a pretty loud player, and I'm not a confident singer, so I had to think of a song where I could sing loud enough over my guitar because I don't have a mic, and the PA system helping me out. So it sort of defines the choices of what you're going to perform. But I love it, and the people who go there, it seems to be a really unique crowd of people who go to that too.
I love everybody at Fremont Abbey. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe that's where I met you then, at Fremont Abbey.
It could be. It could be, because as soon as I discovered that place, I was doing an open mic at Tuesday night open mic, ended early, or it didn't end early. I just went on early, and then I was done. And Craig Marker, who was a player, he was leaving, and I said, "Oh, you're leaving so soon?" He said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to Fremont Abbey." I was like, "What are you going to Fremont Abbey for?" Because they have an open mic. Oh, they have an open mic in Fremont, and I went. I got my guitar and I went there. Because it's later in the evening than the open mic at Stoneway Cafe. So I went there, and that's how I discovered it. Someone else just sort of turned me on to it. But I think it's that word of mouth thing. I don't think it's... I mean, they advertise and stuff, and you can find out about it from the Fremont Open Arts website and all that, but it doesn't have it doesn't seem to have a wide appeal for a lot of people. I think maybe
it's a hidden gem, though.
I think maybe the unplugged thing is really intimidating for people. You know?
Man.
And to a degree, it is for me too. I was like, okay, wow, what am I going to do? But I thought, again, it's a leap of faith.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, here's another cliff I can jump off of.
And
build my
We're
wings
just
on the
looking
way
for
down.
cliffs. We're just always looking for cliffs.
Yeah, okay. And it worked out fine, and it's a lovely place to go. And I invite other people to come down. There's a woman, a woman who's really talented, a pianist, and she's just starting out having the bravery to play and to get out and perform, and has done very little performing in front of people. And I told her about it. She came down and just was an audience member there. Then subsequently she came back and played at the piano, but it's hard because the piano it's a grand piano. It's got this big sound in that room. So it's like, and she can't sing over that, and it's kind of unfortunate, but that no one gets to hear what she's singing, but she still at least came out, and decided to do it, and I'm so glad that she did. Yeah. And last time I was there was a guy playing guitar. Phenomenal musicians. Always blows my mind. Like you're experiencing it too. These people that come out and you go like, wow.
Yeah.
Why isn't this guy famous or something? He's certainly got the chops and, and the songs and the voice or whatever it all is. And yeah.
And it's like you said, it's just like those other artists. They're doing it and they're doing it great, but it's just something didn't align right. And
something didn't align right.
They might happen, they might not happen.
That's right. They might or they might not happen. But it's not. I don't base my path on the golden house at the end of the road, and I don't imagine they do either. But maybe they do. I don't know. It's not my business really to figure out their motivation. But I'm always blown away by the talent and the skill I see in the people. And Fremont Abbey has an exceptionally high, I think, quantity of people who are amazing players.
I agree. I have not met somebody that I was not just floored with.
Yeah, it's a great place. It's a great place to go and discover people. And just recently, I went to an actual show there with a PA and everything. And Craig Marker was playing. He was backing up a guy in Portland who came out of Portland to headline just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I think last time I went, it was Aaron was playing with Drew and Beasley. It was Beasley's shows. Beasley? No? So he's like best friend with Drew Martin.
Oh.
So it was his show, and then it was so touching and amazing. And Beasley himself, also a very loving, spiritual guy, and he does soul performance. And if you haven't seen him, I definitely suggest it because he inspired me. Beasley, I think. And the way he sings, it's all on his face. It's all and it's on his sleeve. Wow. And then when I'm looking at this, him playing and just singing and just expressions, you can truly connect with what he's saying. And it's pretty magical. It's pretty magical, I'd say.
That sounds great.
So it was nice. But we'll wrap this up.
Yeah.
Goodbye, people. Well, look at that. You've made it to the very end of this episode. We were a little bit over an hour, which, you know what? I don't even care. This was a great time chatting, great time talking, great time learning about art history and the purpose of being an artist and just art in general. Everybody can learn a lot about the mind of an artist, and like I said a little bit earlier, even a sliver of taking up that mentality into your life. Whatever you choose to do with your life, it doesn't matter. Every path is worth living. But if you take a sliver of what it means to be an artist into the way that you see life, into the way that you
lead your life, then you will see an immense amount of happiness start to emerge, of love, of creativity, all these things that you strive for, that are pleasant in your reality. So, like I was saying in the intro, little surprise, which this is what I'll be doing at the end of every episode, which is just freestyling a song, a quick, simple song about the interaction that I've had with the previous guest. So today, the song is called Mark, or I'll probably, if you guys want to give it a different name, you can. Whatever. I'm not gonna sit here. I just came up with a song. I'm not gonna come up with a name for the song. All right, here it is. Enjoy. His name is Mark. You see, we spent some time drinking coffee. Talked about our dreams, what it means to be an artist. An artist doesn't seem to care what he gets out of doing all his things. He just sits there doing things just because it makes his heart float up above the stars. Forget you're just like us. Remember, we're all fighting this war because we've been led to believe that this path we lead is the only one we have to walk, you see. That's not true. Each path is true. It's not true. You just do you. Just do you. Just do you.